Hi, today I'd like to talk about the equimarginal principle, which is an idea that we can more efficiently make the same amount of stuff. We can do it at less cost if we choose appropriately who should be making that stuff, that good or service. So the equimarginal principle is based on an idea that different producers have different shaped cost curves. So when someone is looking to make a good or a service, the cost of doing so depends on how much stuff they're making. And eventually, as you make more and more stuff, those costs per unit go up. So that's increasing marginal cost. Our cost curves are going to go up. They're going to be upward sloping as we make more stuff, at least in a certain range. And that's true for a lot of reasons. One is because inputs start to get more expensive. Another reason is because you have to start hiring more workers, but even buying new machines and building new factories, buying more land. So your costs per unit end up going up once you get above a certain range. Now the equimarginal principle says that if we have two different, say, factories and we want to produce a certain number of goods, let's say we're making filters that filter out water. If we want to make those filters as cheaply as possible, what we should do is set it so that the marginal cost of making one filter is the same at factory A as it is at factory B. That's the equimarginal principle. We're going to make more stuff at lower cost if we choose who makes stuff based on this idea that they end up having an equal marginal cost for the last unit that they produce. Why does this make sense? Well, if you have one factory that can make a water filter for $20 and you have another factory that can make another water filter for $10, it would make sense to have the factory that can make the filter for $10 make one more instead of having the factory that can do it at $20, right? Now, since our cost curves end up going upward as we make more stuff, taking away units from that higher cost factory is actually going to move them down their cost curve. So maybe now we're looking at it costing them $19 or $19.50 or whatever, some smaller number for their last water filter that they're making. Now, we basically keep shifting production away from the higher cost producer until we get to a point where the marginal cost is actually equal for factory A and factory B. Why does that happen? Well, it used to be $20 and $10. Now we've shifted it and it's gotten cheaper at the expensive factory because they're making at a lower production level now. And it's gotten more expensive at the cheaper factory. Why? Because, well, we've actually moved them up their cost curve by upping their production. And eventually we get to a point where they're just equal. That's the equimarginal principle. That's where we want to be. Now, fortunately, the market often helps us get there by virtue of competition. The firms are going to make production decisions that get them to this equimarginal principle without us having to intervene. But we'll be talking about some times when that's not necessarily true. We're going to be looking at a lot of different market failures within this class, and we'll see how market failures may distort incentives so that we don't actually get to the equimarginal principle on our own. We may need to intervene in some way, such as through an economic incentives program. But we'll talk about that more later. Thanks.